Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be learning how to prepare an essay outline. This is one of the most important steps in writing an essay, and it's one of those steps that a lot of people take for granted, and it never gets the attention that it deserves. If you manage to plan your essay and to produce an outline at the very beginning of the whole process, trust me, you will end up writing a much better essay. So let's see how this can be done. Well, I think you already know how important it is to prepare. You've been told that it's important to make preparations, but a lot of the time students are in a hurry, they're trying to meet a deadline, and they're rushing through the whole process of writing an essay, which is why they forget about this very important step. Think about it. As with many other things in life, it's so important to have a plan. If you're building a structure, if you're constructing a building, you wouldn't just go about uh, putting walls up and adding rooms as you are going through the process of construction. You'd never do that. You would obviously have a plan based on which a careful plan based on which you build the building. So a lot of the time when you don't plan ahead, what happens is that you face problems that you don't know how to overcome and how to approach those problems and to solve them. So planning ahead can really help you predict some of the issues that you may face along the way. It involves more critical thinking. An essay where you've thought about your ideas beforehand often results in higher quality ideas. And finally, it avoids redundancies. So one of the things I see in a lot of student essays is that they keep repeating the same idea. They have this central idea that keeps popping up in every paragraph, and this causes a lot of redundancy. By planning ahead, you can avoid such unnecessary repetitions. And finally, the whole essay looks way more structured and logical when it's based on a carefully planned outline. So what's the first step? Well, the first step is to brainstorm. What does brainstorming mean? It means writing down everything that you can think of when it comes to that particular issue. Now, what's important to remember here is that we're not supposed to filter out our ideas, and we're not supposed to say, I don't know, that's not a good idea, I'm not going to write it down, or this isn't going to be useful, I'm not going to waste my time writing that idea down. No, this is a big mistake. In the brainstorming phase, you should write down anything that pops into your head. You never know. Sometimes some of the ideas that you never thought would be useful actually turn out to be great and effective in supporting some of your ideas. So go ahead, make a list. Let's take a look at an example together. Let's suppose we're asked this question. Are online classes as effective as traditional classes? Okay, first thing that we would do is make a list of advantages. So let's say that I am in favor of online classes and I want to think of some of the advantages. So I begin writing down a few of the advantages I can think of. Well, online classes can be cheaper. They don't involve commuting. they can be more convenient. More students can take the same course at the same time. There are fewer instructors involved. And there is a flexible schedule. Now, does this mean I'm going to end up using all of these ideas? No. Does it mean that all of these ideas are equally effective or equally convincing? Again, no. But at least this is going to give me some options to choose from. And it's going to make my job way easier at a later stage in the writing process. What's the second step? Well, now that you've made a list of all your ideas, try to group your ideas together. Which ideas logically belong in the same category? Which ideas can be grouped together in a more structured way? Let's take a look at an example. So remember some of the ideas that I put down in the brainstorming phase? Let's see if we can group them together. First idea can be online classes are cheaper. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, one of my ideas was there's no need for commuting. And if you don't have to take the bus or drive to school, well, you're saving up on money, right? You don't have to pay a fare. You don't have to pay for gas. There are no additional fees. You don't need to buy lunch, for example. You can just have lunch at home. And it often involves less tuition. So many online classes are cheaper than traditional classes. The second idea can be convenience. Online classes are more convenient. You can take them from home. You don't have to leave. You don't have to prepare. It saves your time. It saves your time in the sense that you don't need to commute, for example. And you can have a more flexible schedule. You can basically have your classes in the morning or in the afternoons. You can do a little bit of the course today and maybe finish it up the next day. Effectiveness is the third idea. You can study at your own pace. If you're not feeling ready to study a particular day, you can postpone. You can study at your own pace, meaning that sometimes you can do more lessons, and some weeks you can maybe, or some days, you can give yourself a break. There's a chance for repetition. If you're not sure you've fully understood an idea, you can watch the video again. And finally, the course is always available. You can always go back, even after years, years after you've completed the course. So, as you can see, I took the ideas from the brainstorming phase and I grouped them together based on some main points. The main points being cheaper, more convenient, and more effective. Okay, what's the third step? So we've brainstormed ideas, we've grouped them together. Now we want to draw an outline. How do we draw the outline? Well, you begin by writing your thesis. You then summarize the main ideas of each paragraph, and then you write the supporting sentences for each paragraph. So that's a thesis, usually 3 main ideas, and then for each of the main ideas, you can have between 2 to 3 supporting ideas. Start by writing your thesis. In the case of the example we were working on, the thesis could be something like this. Online classes are sometimes more effective than traditional classes due to being cheaper, more convenient, and more effective. So this is an example of a 3-pronged thesis statement. We've previously discussed three-pronged thesis statements in another video. You don't have to write your three-pronged thesis statement in a complete way. Remember, an outline is just a rough draft, and we can polish the language later. So for now, just write a thesis statement that introduces your stance and maybe very briefly introduces the main ideas. After that, you write your main ideas separately. Remember what the three main ideas were? The first main idea was online classes are cheaper. Second idea is online classes are more convenient. And the third idea is online classes are more effective. Now, the language is very simple and it's quite repetitive, but at this point, we're not concerned with grammatical complexity or lexical range or, using fancy words or different words, paraphrasing a lot. No, what matters here is the ideas. The ideas are what matter. Then, for each of the main ideas, write the supporting details. For example, the first main idea was that online classes are cheaper. Now, I need to come up with 2 to 3 supporting ideas. Number 1, students don't need to commute daily. Number 2, students do not need to pay for lunch or coffee outside home. And number 3, the tuition for online classes is usually less. So this is the outline for my first body paragraph. The second body paragraph starts with the main idea. Online classes are more effective. The supporting details include 1, students can study whenever they're ready. Time of day, they can study in the morning or in the afternoon. They can re-watch the lectures as many times as necessary. And 3, the course is always available for future reference. Finally, the outline for the third body paragraph is like this. The main idea is that online classes are more convenient. Supporting details, number 1, students can study from home. They can save a lot of time by not commuting to class every day. 3, they can manage their schedule in a better way. Okay, so now let's take a look at the overall outline. This is what the outline looks like. Let's review. We brainstormed our ideas, which means we wrote down everything we could think of. Then we grouped those ideas into categories. 3, we wrote the thesis statement. 4, we started drawing an outline for each of the 3 paragraphs. Now, as you can see in this slide, we have a hierarchical structure. So we have the Roman numeral 1 for the thesis. We have A, B, C for the main ideas. And then we have 1, 2, and 3 for the supporting ideas of each paragraph. So this is what an outline for a preliminary essay looks like. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you find it useful. All the best.